like we're good. Let's start that streaming and get on with it. No echoes there. Yes, the legend of Tom. Actually, if I say this, will YouTube have a problem? Maybe
Yes,
not.
don't do it.
I won't do it. I won't do it. Anyway, the 365 Message Center up today. We're talking about channel moderation. There's a few things around SharePoint news pages and authoring. Packages, policies, footers. Oh my.
Oh my.
The show. Let's go. Happy Monday from Sandy. Thank you, Sandy. I'll take that and apply that to the past. That's okay. You have a great Monday. Now you understand why I say good now.
Well, I'm going to say in chat, thank you, Sandy, because it is indeed Monday for me.
That's right. That's right. And Monday in Nashville, the home of. Oh, you got nothing. You got nothing.
The home of intolerable heat wave. That's what
Oh
Nashville is the
yeah.
home of. We were heat index to 99 over the weekend, I think it was. So
You
Friday
guys and your
maybe.
Fahrenheit, man. I mean, you always make it sound so much hotter. It's only like 40 degrees, right?
I I don't know. I,
I mean,
I don't have
anyway.
time to do the math. Hold on, I'll
No, of
do the
course
math.
not. But I mean, I've seen it on the heat map, and it is yeah, impressive.
Anyway, we are coming. The temperatures are coming down now, so it's a good thing. The humidity's coming down, but it was exceptionally warm past few days.
Yeah, there you go. Oh well, let's crack on because there are a few things to have a look at. And look, I have to say, let's just flick to this scene. Ooh la
Hmm.
la! If you saw the preview, the little promo Periscope yesterday, and if you've looked at your message center recently, you would have noticed that the new admin center has come in.
Hmm.
We've got some mixed feelings here. I like it because I don't see this big major updates bar that sure I could tuck that away, but it
Hmm.
just felt like it took a
Hmm.
whole lot of real estate. I also
Hmm.
like that I can quickly click in and see my dismissed messages. How do
Hmm.
you feel about it, my friend?
Um, I'm like
Eh?
it reminds me of the Docs website,
Okay.
the Microsoft.com, with all the documentation of everything. So, and maybe some people will call me and say that I am being heretical or something. I because I'm always about consistency. I
Yeah.
just don't. This is just very bland to me. Now, I do like the tab experience, although it's not really a tab; it's just links. But that tab experience at the top. I do like getting rid of the huge section for those messages, but I'm just like, I'm underwhelmed. That's the word I'm going to go with.
Got it. You
Yep.
wouldn't believe it, hey, but YouTube's having some problems receiving data again.
Mm.
I don't know. Yeah. We find a winning formula for 2 years, and then something changes, and it's a bit like working in the cloud, isn't it? Things change. Um,
It does change, yes.
yeah. No, I mean, I haven't really explored a lot about it. I haven't looked at edit preferences. So let's have a look see here. What does that do? Preferences. Oops, better put our faces off to the side. Given that we are all about the Message Center, Daniel, I figured that we should take a look at the new Message Center and do it
I
justice.
agree.
You can turn on and off different products if you're
Yes, you can.
more focused on certain things. I mean, let's say that you haven't deployed no, you can't say identity management services. Let's say Yammer, for example. I
Yeah.
wanted to avoid it, but some people don't deploy it. I've heard.
What?
So yeah, I know. Maybe you don't want to see updates from Yammer. Now, hang on, let me think about this. This message center is supposed to be specific to our tenant, which we know it sort of is sometimes and sort of not. If you
Right.
didn't use Yammer, would this not be displaying in your tenant anyway?
Well, I maybe or maybe not. We've seen some examples where they've made announcements about upcoming features on products that we're not using.
Mm.
And I'm kind of okay with that. We talked about this before. I'm kind of okay with that. Yes, we'd like to see more targeting, but what if we're planning to roll out Yammer, right? We're starting the planning phases. Well, there's some announcements being made. It sure would be nice to know those announcements while we're in our, launching project. But
Right.
if if they limit us, then we won't see those. So,
Yeah. Good call.
yeah.
Good call. Check out the labels as well. So data privacy.
Mhm.
And that was harkening back to our new data privacy notifications that will come through. And this is also where you set up your email notifications. I don't have any other addresses, so I don't know if this was unticked purposefully, but or whether it's by default.
But that's
Yeah,
where
do
you
check that
can
out.
you can send that to other people. So that's really
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Well, that's where often like you'll drop in the channel address of a team for the IT or AS
Hmm.
team that looks after your cloud services, or an email address for distribution group. Cool. What else we got? Filters, high importance. Anything of high importance today? No, no, no. Oh, hang on.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I guess it was high importance.
yeah, it
So we'll get to
was.
that one. We'll keep. But yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, I'm happy with that. You're kind of like, yeah, whatever. Um, it's good. It's good. All right. We'll have opinions. We'll work with it,
Hmm. That's right.
and let's get rocking.
Let's get it.
Um, scrolling on down to our first one, which is actually the
Scrolling, scrolling,
high
scrolling.
importance one.
Yes.
Ho ho. Now this I think this came in, yeah, 16th of July.
Yeah, right
Uh,
after
th-
we
th-
did the show
yeah,
last week.
and as I'm reading through it, Outlook on the web, new cloud doc sharing experience, and you read through what it's describing. That you grab a link to a shared document in OneDrive and SharePoint, you
Hmm.
paste it into an Outlook on the web email, and it
Hmm.
turns into, doesn't use the language here, but I've read it somewhere else in a different update. A chiclet. It
Right.
looks like a document, feels like a
Right.
document, isn't a document. It's a link.
Right.
So am I right? Like we did read this. Was it a
Yes.
Teams update?
We did read this, but I believe it was Outlook on the desktop, maybe. Oh, gosh, and wouldn't it be great if we actually had a search experience in the admin center that could give us the ability to go back and look at old messages? That would be great in this. Anyway,
Yeah, you mean like the one on the mobile?
like the one on the mobile.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that was Outlook on the desktop for Windows in your machine.
Yep.
I don't know what they're calling it now because I have something to point out later in one of the messages. Anyway, so maybe that was it. I just cannot remember. Maybe people in the chat room can
Yeah.
chime in if they remember. But anyway, yes, we did read that, and we're getting that experience to be able to just paste the link in
Yep.
there, and getting that. I think, and it'll be a familiar experience to us as far as seeing that in the document, as well as being able to share from that link. If you want edit permissions, remember when we're doing that, pasting a link, Microsoft is doing us a favor and looking at the permissions, and we need to make sure that people that are going to be on the email have permissions to that document. So if we're in our OneDrive, it's a link from our OneDrive. Darrell, aren't they going to be giving permissions to the people we're sending this email to?
Yeah. Like this is what I was driving at, was the question: did we see this before? Because I
Hmm.
feel it's one of those consistency things,
Hmm.
where we're seeing that same experience in Teams, and you go to, oh,
Hmm.
ugh, okay. Talking of not consistency, I did try to open up the additional information.
Nice.
Outlook on the web, attach your files from your computer, attach files from OneDrive. Let's see if it's under here.
It's not this. I mean,
It's
it
not.
shows what
Oh,
it shows the
kinda.
experience. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's that chiclet, makes it look and feel like a file, but it's got your little cloud, and it will give you the opportunity to set permissions at that time.
Hmm.
And also within your company's. Sorry, I did not display that in full screen
Oh,
on the scene.
I'm looking at it.
Sorry. Yes. There we go.
Wow.
Shocking. Yeah. So it'll fit within your company's policies about what kind of sharing you're allowed to have there too. So that yeah, good to see that, and some consistency is what I was driving at there.
Gotcha.
All right. We're moving on to. Oh, you see, now this is something that's changed. I used to go to the top of the message.
Yeah.
Back to full screen again. I used to go to the top of the message and go, next one, please. So there's nothing.
Actually, you said previous.
Previous, yes,
Remember,
previous
yeah.
and next. So they've taken away. Ooh, strike! You've changed my workflow, man. All right. Let's just cheat. You didn't see this because we've got that different overlay. Ooh,
this is being recorded, right? Yes, the footer, the SharePoint footer is coming to your site. This has been something that has been talked about for a while and demonstrated. So this new footer, I have it in my tenant. It's a footer. I don't want to like push it down too much because it's cool. It's a footer.
You can't push it down too much. It's the footer.
It's on the top. Oh, you're so funny.
Oh, I know.
So it's just I've been okay. So the reason why I'm not as excited as some people is that I've been working with sites and utilizing other intranet in a boxes that have a way better footer experience, to be honest, and for a while. So to have this footer, which is this one line that you get to put a logo, except that when you put the logo on there, you don't select a logo that's already in your SharePoint environment for some reason. You have to upload it new. Mm-hmm. And you add links, and that's it. And it's right justified, which, you would think some people in other countries or people have different language preferences that might be a problem. So, and I don't think the logo is going to have a link. The logo does not have a link in the footer. It's great for what it is. That's what I'm going to say. So it's nice to have, but I know that there's going to be people who implement this and go, it's great, but I want da 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 da. Mm-hmm. And so hopefully we'll be seeing even more functionality coming from the footer later.
Yep. Yeah, well, like you said, it's out of the box. Right. It might hit 50-60% of organizations' needs, but those who are pushing harder for something that's more customizable may already be using another package.
Maybe.
So that's that's the other reason that you go to third party, is so that you can tweak a few more things within the boundaries. Don't select a package too that hacks away at code and then has problems every time there's an update. One of the other ways. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, one of the ways that I've done it too before this footer was available was you have the 3-column section, so you get that feeling of almost like a WordPress. 3 columns of links and something at the bottom, but anyway.
The last thing I wanted to, now that you say that, I want to make sure remember that we're going to get a recommended items. Remember that at the bottom of our SharePoint, and so that will kill all of that. What you just said, right? Because if you put that footer, it's going to be below the footer that you were talking about. It'll put it below it. Right? Yeah. Anyway, I want to.
You got no control over where that lands. Hey, it is literally going to be the bottom of the page, but probably above this footer.
And you have no control. And this is one of those things where if you've got third-party products, it may actually break those third-party products that are on your pages. So anyway, I want to just point out that it will be completed worldwide by the end of July.
That's shortly.
Yeah, that's less than 30 days, Darrell.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just wanted to say that.
And look, was this present earlier but only in PowerShell form? Because that's the other thing here too, that you've got a UI that when you go into site look and feel, that you can go and change it.
When you go to change the look, there's another option just like header. So you're able to enable the footer, enable a logo. The links it's simple links, so They'll just go across, but that's how you enable it now.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Moving along.
Moving right along.
This is a mouthful, right? To really understand what this one's about. New feature: assigning a package of policies and teams to user based on their roles. Micro machines. I didn't read that fast enough to even qualify as the micro machines, man.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. But you can glance over this and think, okay, great. I read this. It's referring to teams policies around calling, messaging, meetings, etc., which you can control and assign people to certain policy groups. But this actually looks at it in terms of roles. And what I found interesting about this was, out of the box, our mate Jethro, who's at Microsoft in education, EDU first. Right. Policies around education as a teacher, primary student, secondary student, higher education student.
Which this is not surprising, right, Darrell? I mean, having this focus on education, I think this is not, historically we have had this rollout of Microsoft focusing on business and then government and education afterwards, right? And I think with Teams we're seeing a little bit of different focus. Yes, business, but also one of the major players and major usages of Teams can be in education. And I think we're seeing a major push there. So I'm really not surprised, and I'm delighted to see that with this the focus starting off with education.
Yeah, and it is a use case that makes a lot of sense. Where you want to be able to provide a Teams environment for students so that they can collaborate, connect with other students, connect with teachers and faculty. But you want to provide that in a safe way that is compliant to the way that your EDU standards meet. And it might be different around the world too. So they're starting smaller with this concept of policy packages. They're starting with a smaller use case that makes sense. And then we're likely to see the ability to create your own policy packages. And I'm just making a big assumption here. I'm not making announcements, but I expect to see it here for... Who am I to make announcements? That it would be within enterprise and business as well. That would be our hope. So look, there it is. Meeting policies, our policy setup. It's all about that kind of even live events. It's a new feature, live events, and sometimes it's been forgotten. Oh dear, whoops, we left that turned on, and anyone can create a live event. So that's definitely one to include policies.
Right.
Yep. Right. I know that tone of voice, sir. Right. Keep it moving. Microsoft Stream. Replace and trim videos without breaking existing links. As a video creator, both of us, this is a big deal. And it's actually something that YouTube doesn't do so well. When we do these live shows, and if I had the inkling of trying to trim something either side, bye-bye live comments. So today we would lose all the wonderful chat there from Sandy and Dean and Phil. But it'll just disappear. In Stream, however, it does a few other things. I'm going to open up the additional information and have a look-see soon. But have you ever wanted to, Daniel, trim and change a video and upload it and,
absolutely
have it still work?
Absolutely. Back to YouTube, you're right. The whole, when we're going live, the beginning and the end, trying to click the buttons on our machine to make sure it's stream, all that causes some things we'd like to trim, but we don't want to lose the chat. Same thing for Stream. There's stuff that I'd like to trim, usually at the beginning and the end. It's usually dead stuff, especially when I record a meeting. Oftentimes I'm doing a demonstration and someone, hey, could you record this so we can, look at this later? Great. It puts that whole, this was a meeting by so-and-so, all up at the front. And I'm like, can I just trim that and make it about the content that I want to focus on rather than, well, then if I do that, then links I've shared out, the break, and because I have to download anyway.
Yep.
I'm loving this. I'm loving the ability for um, um, Stream to be a video resource, which
Yeah.
kind of doesn't make sense. I mean, because it is the video place for Office 365, but I just these additional functionality is really what we need. When we talk about face detection, I'm going to surprise everybody. It's not that big of a deal for me. I haven't found a use case where that just blows me away. Yes, it's cool, but for me, it's like I need things like this: be able to edit videos and be able to put emphasis on video, be able to zoom in on video, edit those things in the browser rather than having to have a professional.
You know where face
suite.
detection falls over? When you don't have a
Twins?
culture that turns on cameras. Dang.
Right.
Yep. Turn it on. Look at each other. It really helps.
Yeah.
But look, when you go to upload and replace videos, you've got that choice. Keep in mind that if you are wanting to trim it and change it and add other things to it, then you are going to lose that original video. So download that if you need to work with it. You've got what does it do? It goes through and it will keep the details, permissions, options, and history, views, lights, etc. You need to either go with a new thumbnail or upload that again. If you've created any forms that you've embedded, you'll have to embed them again. The form won't disappear, but you can embed that. I did wonder about this one, transcript.
Yeah.
Right, it does regenerate that, so it'll have new timestamps for all the words. That's smart. That's good.
It is.
And people information. But there you go.
Right. Anyway, it's great. I like having more functionality in the Stream.
Right. And we have this is a big deal, I think.
Okay.
A big deal,
Tell us
big
why
little
you
deal.
think this is a big deal.
Go ahead. You got this, sir.
I do. I was hoping you would say, why do you think this is a big deal?
Oh, okay. No, I'll say that updates to page and news authoring. There are some things in there that we've had with different products, but this one's going to make I'm looking particularly at on-page anchors. But you've got your drag and drop onto canvas, cool, which includes dragging a document onto a canvas. Don't know if I'd do that. I'd actually still prefer to upload it to the folder that I want it in.
Right.
Because I expect it'll just drop it into the root of the document folder. Link previews.
I wouldn't expect that, and I haven't seen the functionality. I haven't done it yet, but I wouldn't expect that. I would expect it to actually. This is the fun part. Do you know how when you add a picture from the page when you're editing, where does it put it? It puts it in a bunch of folders.
Assets.
Yeah.
Site assets.
It goes the page name as a folder, and then it puts that in an. So I would expect that to happen here, which is awful.
Right.
It's a terrible experience. Now, what I really want is for it to ask me. I drag it on there. Great. Where do you want to put this? And let me, pop up a picker so I can quickly do that. That would be fantastic. I just haven't seen
the
it
picker
in
is
practice.
there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
You've seen it where it says recent documents, recent pages, browse or upload from your computer. So surprise us. We're looking forward to it.
That's right.
Link preview, embedded videos. Okay, cool. What's rich preview for links pasted? So you can grab a link to a video from Stream or YouTube, drop it on the page, and you don't have to add the web part. Okay.
Right.
But yeah, this page anchors is the one that, look, we've been using this for years in other places. Now we're able to create our own nice little link list at the top or off to the side or whatever, and it'll jump to position in the page because we can drop an anchor on the page.
Yep.
View and redo vertical sections. I should hit the additional information so it loads.
The
there.
vertical sections that's a big deal that Microsoft has highlighted, and I think I have been excited about it. I mean, giddy or anything, but I've been excited about it. Being able to have a vertical section on the side page of the page so that we're limited to having horizontal sections now, to where that's how you have to build things and you have to stack them. And
Oh, that's
having a
it.
vertical section on the side, I think, is nice, so that and Microsoft has used that to say, here you can have a vertical section. It can have all my components on the right hand side.
Hmm.
You know, stuff for me, my recent documents, my that kind of stuff. So
So we're talking about this over here as a vertical
correct,
section.
correct.
And I imagine, yeah, there we go. So, like, as a mobile view, of course, it's going to adapt. So
Hmm.
it's interesting. What does it put at the front? Of course, this is the body because that's what you want to show first. And then I guess further down, you'll have that side bar, or rather, side section. Vertical section. Use the correct terminology, Darrell. Whoa. All right. Good, good. Nice one.
Yeah, I agree.
Keep on moving because we've got a few more to go.
We do.
We have organization transparency and control over cloud experiences for the Mac.
We've
That is another mouthful.
It is.
Uh,
This is actually a bigger mouthful than last. And I think this one is something that we've talked about before for Office. This one is expanding it to the Mac.
mm,
Same deal where we can configure what information is sent to Microsoft, right? So
telemetry,
this is
telemetry,
tele-
telemetry. How are you
tele-
using our product?
correct.
I'm
Product.
telling you, I'm telling you.
So being able to, and it's a long update as well, not just
Yeah.
a long title. So just if you have concerns about your organization sending information to Microsoft, that telemetry about how you're using it,
Hmm.
what kind of features are you using most, those kind of what features are you using, so they can tell if no one's using a feature, then maybe not invest in improving it, or maybe they should. I don't know. um,
Hmm.
but that's your choice, and so extending it to the Mac here. That's it.
Yep. Yep. That is it. But note that telemetry is on by default. So if
Hmm.
that is something that you want to turn off for both the Windows and the Mac environment, then that's what you need to look into.
Hmm.
We've got improving performance by removing portal.office.com. If you're in the habit of going, I'm going to the admin center, portal.office.com, oh, or not just the admin center, Office as well,
All right.
then at portal.office.com is not going to be a redirect anymore. I've got into the habit of just saying office.com, sign it, boom. What about you?
Me too.
Yeah. And admin center is admin.microsoft.com.
So that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. What
Yeah,
was it?
and,
What
and
was that?
I think this is all. This harkens back to how people get to content, and you know this in intranets. People will bookmark things. They will remember things, how to type, a URL specifically. And so when you're doing things like renaming your intranet, for instance, you have to keep an account that all people keep track of those links differently.
Yeah.
So I like having this announcement to say, hey, we're changing this up. And, of course, they were going to put this in there, but just to let you know, we're changing this up, and depending on how you use this, that you may be affected.
Yep. Yeah. Particularly though, if you're transitioning to Office 365 and everyone's used to going to an on-premise intranet, then you
Hmm.
probably have a central link that says, "Here's your cloud stuff,"
Hmm.
and that's where you want to redirect that to.
Right.
Um, Yet another reminder about TLS upgrades starting
Another
1st of
reminder.
June. So really, really letting you know, get onto it. But, on the serious side, it's because some of the changes may affect equipment that would take a lot more planning to
Right.
pull out of, and systems to pull out of your setup and infrastructure,
Hmm.
and just getting
Could
ahead
take a
on
while.
that could
That's right.
take a while. So yeah, keep remembering that date, and you better have that plan in place.
Yeah.
Um,
What about this next
teams,
one? Yes.
teams, channel
Teams, teams,
moderation.
teams. Teams, teams, teams,
Teams,
teams,
teams.
teams.
Uh,
So, teams moderation,
yeah.
Daryl, have you experienced in your organization or in your clients this need for moderation in teams?
Oh, not in teams, because
Okay.
that people haven't really seen that yet. I mean, well, okay, the
I've seen the
moderation in
need, not
terms,
seen it, is what I
yeah.
mean.
They have requested it around Yammer because it's
Mm-hmm.
more open by default and it's all
Mm-hmm.
about open discussion. Um, but moderation in general is a good thing in certain situations. We talked about education earlier.
Mm.
Definitely a good area there. Uh,
Right.
when you've got a all org team, and I'm still interested to talk to an organisation that's using that, because it's up past 2,000 members now,
Mm-hmm.
and really interested to hear what that experience is like with 2,000 people discussing something in a channel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, but moderation. Um, I wouldn't call it moderation. I think this is one of the announcements that kind of is a sticking point for me.
Okay.
Um, you've been on forums, discussion forums, even the tech community. What does moderation mean to you, Daniel?
Well, generally, moderation means you post something, Darrell, that is against policy, and I go out and say, nope, and take it down. Or, and part of that is maybe you post something and I, as an admin, don't see it, but other members of the group go, ooh, that's bad. Report, 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 report. And other systems say, well, after 5 reports or after 3 reports of people going, oh, that's bad, it actually removes it automatically.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think of moderation.
And there's a moderator role, and that
That's right,
person will have a
correct.
few more permissions to be able to
Hmm.
check things over,
Right.
approve those sorts of posts. But there's some other things around it too. We've got this far and we haven't read it. Okay, so what is it? You've got team owners and you've got moderators, and then you've got members of teams. And a
Hmm.
moderator in a channel can controls who can start a post in a channel. So we've seen that already in general. You can set something to say only the owner of a channel can post in general. Now you
Hmm.
can do this across other channels, and only moderators can post. And it gives this use case if you read up the additional information. We won't jump in there now, but that the moderators are the conversation starters. They are the subject matter experts, and people can, talk about that. But that's not moderation, though.
No, it's
Moderator,
not.
you can take a conversation, drop it into the right channel. You can move things around. You can encourage conversation. You've got a few more things there. Maybe this is just the start, and there'll be some more moderator controls. But
Right.
yeah, wouldn't call it moderation. I think it actually would end up limiting the conversation.
Maybe so. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Now
We have
you
one
have
last
something.
one.
You have
Yes.
something that I don't, and this sometimes happens.
Yes.
Highlighting yet another feature of the message center. Go
Yep.
ahead, my friend. Let's cut it
Let's
over
do it.
to your view.
So, can you see my screen? Can you see my
I
screen?
I can see
Um,
it.
so, I have a message about Power Apps, and Darrell and I were talking about this right before we went live, and he didn't have this, and we were trying to figure out if maybe this was targeted because I have used Power Apps and he hasn't as much, or I'm not entirely sure. But this one it's an interesting update because it's not focusing on something that's coming out as a new feature, nor is it focusing on, hey, TLS is all of that. This is talking about something's broke and we know about it, and we're going to release a fix. And this fix will be available by, this says Tuesday, July 23rd, which is tomorrow for us. It'll be Wednesday for you, before it comes out probably. But this is interesting. There's a problem, there's an issue, and they're going to fix it. It feels like this doesn't really belong in the message center. This belongs in the health area, right? To
Yeah,
say there's an
yeah.
issue with Power Apps, we're fixing it. Just like if there's an issue with Exchange Online or with Flow or with SharePoint, there would be an update in the health, not in the message center. So this is very interesting. But it's saying basically, once they've updated the Power Apps app on iOS, then please have your users download it because they're going to fix this. And the issue is basically there's a survey dialog that will pop up, and it cannot be dismissed. And it basically will hover there, and you won't be able to use Power Apps. So that's the issue that they're addressing. Short and simple there, but I just think this is an interesting. I don't know that we've seen something like this before. Anyway,
that speaks to me of we know that product groups manage their own announcements, messages, and we see certain maturity levels of, okay, we've done this before, and sometimes not so much.
Yes, product groups manage it. Yeah, this one, the first one we covered was ripe with SharePoint not spelled correctly. So I mean, it had.
But was it done by Outlook on the web? Scroll to the top there.
Yes, that's the Outlook on the web.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then one more thing I wanted to cover, and I said I had something that wanted to address, and this was the this one. So we were talking about this transparency, but the one thing I wanted to mention is this sentence here, Darrell. It says, we had this conversation about what is Office for Windows. Do you remember this conversation? What is?
Oh, yeah.
Well, here it is. This says version 1904 of Office 365 Pro Plus. Pro Plus is Office you download, right?
Yes.
And install. It is not from the store.
Yep.
Office 365 Pro Plus and monthly channel or monthly channel targeted for Windows.
Yeah.
So, is this definitive? I don't know.
No,
I'm still confused as to how they term it. What do they call that app? Those apps now you can get from the Office store.
Well, yeah, it's not
or from the Windows store.
And sometimes I've seen it called Windows Store. I actually found it later after our show last week too, that when they were talking about Office, or sorry, it was Outlook for Windows, they were talking about Office Pro Plus window. Office.
Yes, see.
Yeah, I know.
All right,
I know.
I'm going to stop sharing now.
Okay.
But it's fun times.
Yeah, definitely.
I just wanted to mention.
Yep. That's the show. That's the show. Thank you, Daniel and Daniel. Oh, cool. Daniel. Sorry, I'm gonna butcher your surname. Leskowitz.
Wow. I mean, that was actually pretty good.
Gross. Sandy Usia.
I like how you went Daniel. Oh.
Daniel.
But there was two
Phil
Daniels,
Laurel.
and so when I was mentioning him in the chat, it propped me up first. I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to myself. I do that all the time.
Thank you for joining us, live audience, and those of you who watch and don't chat, but that's cool. Again, offering value to the show. Just finishing off the turn. I know we're pushing for time. We did have a good meeting there where earlier yesterday, a couple of days ago, with Anna Chu. Call for content for Microsoft Ignite is out, and while there are some things that MVPs, regional directors, the new one is the Microsoft Certified Trainers. So these are people that get looped into running community content. There is one other factor there too, which you can apply for, and that is being a community reporter. So those of you on the show who are really keen to get involved with Ignite and would like to try that out, then audition and get cracking with that. So I'll drop a link up there to that video, and you'll catch it there. We actually talk more than just about what the call for content is about. Anna does go into what's new and different about this year as well. So it is still worth a listen, a watch.
Yeah, even if you're not you don't want to submit or be part of call for content, she covers. Like you said, things that are changing for this year for Ignite. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll be releasing that soon.
All right. Well, that was us. We'll see you again next week. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.